Aryna Sabelanka, who is now the women's world number 1. She has replaced Iga Swiatek at the top of the tree. Now,
Hmm.
this is quite interesting, Chris, because these two have been almost in a league of their own. I think this season, and Sabalenka has had a stellar season. There is no doubt about that. And Swiatek has dropped to number 2 in the rankings because she's not been playing recently, and she was given a points penalty for failing to compete in the mandatory 6 WTA 500 events, which feels quite dramatic. But what do you read into the fact that Sabalenka is now like top dog on the WTA tour? Do you think this is going to be like a flash in the pan and Swiatek's going to come back, or do you see this now as a sort of period of dominance from Sabalenka? Just as I say, I think becoming the ultimate boss that Swiatek has maybe at the French Open.
Well, I mean, it's not the way I thought it would happen. I think I was expecting potentially that Iga would be playing these tournaments, and it would be quite hard
Mm,
for Sabalenka to surpass her points total, despite the fact she does have 2 Grand Slam titles. I think what's really been the curveball that's kind of brought this to a head and brought this result around so quickly is the breakup of Camp Swiatek. And so, obviously, what's happened recently is that her coach of 3 years, um, Witorowski, he has actually left the team. Now we've had a new announcement. They've done all the coach swapping. We now have Wim Fissette joining team Swiatek, which is very exciting. But it seems like a lot of these things are kind of happening behind the scenes, and she wants to get them right before she plays. And what I'd say is kind of surprising by this is because that's not been Iga's policy at all. It's been get the end of year ranking however you can. I mean, last year she pipped Sabalenka at the post by winning the end of season finals to secure the end of season ranking, despite the fact she hadn't been necessarily looking like that would be happening. So I think a lot of it is on the Swiatek camp side of things, and there have been lots of. I mean, it is obviously rumors at this stage that potentially her coach did
mm.
quit because of the amount of control that her sort of, I guess it's a psychologist, Daria has been having over the whole of Camp Swiatek. So I think it's very interesting how it's happened, but I would love to have seen them competing in the big tournaments in Beijing.
Mm.
I'd love to have seen them competing in Wuhan. I'd love to have seen those matches where they're really fighting for the world number 1 position, as opposed
Yeah.
to almost um, kind of just
It's almost
petering
been
out.
gifted. Oh, I don't want
Yeah.
to say gifted because I think that's unfair to Sabalenka's still taken it from, I suppose,
Yes.
Swiatek. But you're right. It's not really like Swiatek put up as much of a fight as she could have, and
They've not been in the
it was
same
almost ended
tournaments.
on a
Yeah.
it was almost ended on a technicality more than anything, rather than some sort of matchup which we would have loved to have seen in a final, for example, in Asia, like a say battle for world number 1.
Yeah, completely. And we haven't seen them play for a little while either. So I think that is going to make potentially for an even more exciting end of season finals, because
Yeah.
um, it will be a bit of a case that one player will win a slam, one might win 2 slams, one might win the end of season finals. I think that does make for a really good rivalry. But I also think that the other side of that is that I'm very happy for Sabalenka that she's able to have this time as number 1, because I did feel like she was playing the best tennis at times last year as well. They both picked up 1 slam. And then obviously the end of season finals did kind of put Swiatek over the line there. But I think she deserves her time in the sun, and she didn't necessarily. She joked about it herself, did have many weeks at number 1. So having a few more weeks, I think, is definitely deserved at this point. And let's see how long she'll hold on for the number 1 spot now.
Definitely. It all sets up the WTA finals very, very nicely. We do have a trio of 500 events to look forward to this week in Vienna, Bâle, and Tokyo, as well as a 250 event in Guangzhou. Chris, let's talk about some of these because the matches have already happened. Let's start in Vienna because Dominic Thiem, we've got to quickly talk about Dominic Thiem. He has played his final tennis match.
He has, I know, he played a couple of tennis matches in the last few days. He had that sort of send off, which looked very like a
Mm,
great send off for him. Lots of players were there. He had that match with Zverev, his sort of childhood friend. But then, alas, it is all gone. We are recording on a Tuesday, so matches have already happened. So it was straight sets. He went out to Darderi.
Dairy.
Yes, who was really, I mean, he's an aggressive player. And it's just such a shame because it looked like such a close first set that he wasn't able to get over the line there. But I'm not sure he's been training as though he would be playing the rest of the season. So it was definitely a send-off tournament for him. But again, who would have thought that Dominic Thiem would have potentially retired a month before Rafael Nadal?
It's unbelievable, and it is sad because it is the fact that careers have essentially stopped his career, and he was at such a peak. So yeah, disappointing and sad to see. I mean, elsewhere, say Zverev is the top seed, de Minaur is there. They are both comfortably through to round two. Just looking, Tiafoe Berrettini, that's quite tasty. Round two matchup. Monfils as well. Just another player. Sorry, Monfils. Just another player who.
Monfils. It's Monfils, Joel.
Oh, was it Monfils? Right.
You got it right. No, you did it right.
Got it
yes.
Right. It's Arthur Fils.
Yes.
Arthur Fee. There we go.
Yeah, we go.
I mean, also, yeah, as I say, in Bâle as well, Rublev is the top seed. Casper Ruud is also there. Arthur Fils is there as well. David Goffin into the second round.
He's getting it done.
Loser.
Just for
Love
you.
to see that. Yeah. Anything? Stan the Man has got Manarino. I mean, that's a high number if you add their ages together. Is all I'd say with that matchup.
It is an experienced matchup. We'll call that one. I mean, you'd have to hope that some of the players who are in the running for the end of season finals have a decent run. Casper was very candid about his illnesses that he's had this year, some of the struggles he's had, trying to find his form again and his fitness. He's dropped quite a lot of weight, he said. So I would like him to have a good run, but then I've just seen who he's playing in the first round. He's playing RBA, isn't he?
Yeah, tough one.
Yeah,
tough
so
match.
that is going to be a tough match. But I mean, you don't really have anywhere to hide in 500 draws at this time of the season. So every match is going to be competitive, and almost seems like you've either got a top 10 player or you've got last week's finalists. It's not an easy one at all.
Yeah, it is very, very tough. And moving on to the women's draws that we've got this week. Tokyo 500 event, the Toray Pan Pacific Open. Qin Wenzheng is the top seed. Haddad Meyer, the second seed. Who else have we got? We've got
Andreescu's winning. There we go.
Yeah, exactly. Interestingly, we had Mika Stojsaljevic, GB wildcard. Now, she won the US Open Juniors, so I was very interested to see how she got on. Really annoyingly, she lost at a final set tiebreak in her first round match, but very, very promising. Very promising to see her in the WTA main draw. But yes, Andreescu's there. Yeah, very interesting. And Guangzhou as well. So Siniakova, Bushkova are the top seeds. Katie Borter, I think, is also there safely into the second round.
In Tokyo, yes.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, in Tokyo. Yep, sorry. I was
She's going for the 500. She is. I've seen her.
Well, I think she got quite a nice draw there in it for a 500 event.
It's just unfortunate. She's got Haddad Meyer potentially in the quarterfinals again, 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, very true. And yeah, as I say, Guangzhou, Siniakova, Bushkova. I mean, this feels very, very open. Have to wait and see.